Jesus explains, my advice for a healthy and happy marriage and spiritual partnership. Claire began, tonight he wants to address the issue of husbands and wives. This is an important issue because our failure or success of marriage and in the spiritual life depends on understanding God's spiritual order of things. I have to say I've been a very rebellious female. I've not honored my husband or men in general in my life. I've always looked at men as equals. In a sense, I don't see anything wrong with that. Paul said, there's neither male nor female except God has established the male for the covering of the wife in marriage. Galatians 3:28. This is a prophetic message, and these are the Lord's words. At the end of the message, I will talk about the ways I've dishonored my husband. Jesus began, Claire, I want you to address this area of covering and discernment in marriage. I'm serious about this. I know you are reticent, but I need you to trust me. Many women are ahead of their husbands. That's the nature of the world and things, but many don't see what is behind. What I mean by that is, they don't see me in their husbands. How can you nourish what you don't see? They're looking for some storybook, spiritual giant, when I inhabit the lowly and the hidden. Men are easily intimidated by their wives. They don't always let on to that effect, but they are. I guarantee that. Intimidation forces a man to withdraw and relinquish ground he suspects he should be taking. A man's duties in the world keep him preoccupied with providing for his family. When he comes home, he's tired and the last thing he wants to do is press into time with me. He sees his wife taking the lead, partially because she has the time to study and pray. He knows he can't compete and he steps back to do what is easiest with him. I'm more concerned about him because this pattern of relinquishment is detrimental for his relationship with me and with his wife. She grows, he stagnates, unless he is a very unusual man with a strong desire for me. At this point, I must tell these ladies, recovering a lost man is an art form. It's a delicate job that requires much introspection of a wife and much submission and much work. You mean measuring our words and ultimately our attitudes? That's correct. The words are merely superficial manifestations of a heart attitude. My counsel to all women who find themselves in this place, see me in your husband and cultivate me so I can dominate him. So it's safe for me to come out and take the lead. You know what you've gone through and you can share some of that. So Lord, you mean my struggles with having things done my way? Yes, and in other things, secret criticisms, little foxes that nip at the man's ego. Things you may not say out loud, but he perceives it in your attitude toward him. I know you are still struggling with this and I'm helping you. But because it is fresh in your mind, you do have something solid to share with them. Keep reminding them that demons are at work 24/7 to undermine a man's honor in the home and in the world for that matter. That is why men are so prone to adultery. A woman comes along at work and makes him feel 10 feet tall. He comes home and his wife makes a remark about him leaving his shoes in the middle of the floor. It's not just that one remark. It's 15 to 20 years worth of remarks that make an I'm bad button in his heart. Touch it lightly and all the other remarks kick in too, and he feels badly about himself. You're lucky you've married a sensitive man, so you can see this dynamic right out in the open. Most men cover it up with an ugly remark right back, or just withdraw into their TV program, sports, or shops. You ask, why are the demons so committed to dishonoring a man? Because man is the covering. This is the correct order, and when they don't rise to the occasion, the demons can sift the woman, lead her astray, get into her prayer times, and get into her false words. leading them on a wild goose chase and eventually convincing them that they need a more spiritual man. The children see all of this, and this disrespectful behavior is replicated in them. So it's a belittling cycle of men that continues on into the next generation. The man has a very sensitive understanding of order. Very often I work through him to recognize something is off, but because he doesn't want to face the wrath of Khan or any other threatening behavior, he finds it more convenient to let it slide. And slide it does. Down, down, and further down yet. This is where their lives are run with her spiritual insights, with no governor except perhaps other female friends who are living the same way. That's no help to her either. It's the blind leading the blind. I put that man in that position to bring up the hard things and confront the things that are suspect. But because they don't want to deal with their wife's reactions, be it tears or deprecations, they let it slide until they're useless in covering their wives and protecting them. This teaching is not for all, only the ones who are willing to humble themselves to have a good marriage. I'm telling you, ladies, I'll use your husbands in ways I'll never be able to use you. That's why you were married, not just to have children and a stable home, but to have a holy, productive life lived in truth and not deception, and to produce holy offspring. With Adam and Eve, you can see this at work. Adam knew it was wrong to eat from the tree, but he was comfortable, complacent, and didn't want to make a big issue with Eve, and he partook as well. You men are not as strong as you appear to be. Brawn and strong are not synonymous. Strong means thinking ahead and making good, strong decisions, even when they go against what your wife wants. Strong means, okay, Lord, I'm willing to endure the strife and pain that will ensue from opposing my wife. What she really wants, what she demands, etc. I'll stand for what I believe and that you are leading me, no matter what the cost. That is a strong man. That doesn't mean beating or abusing her. No, that's for sissies, not for a real man. Love your wife as you love your very own self, because how well your life goes depends on how well you treat your wife. I didn't put you together to be harsh and mean to her. If you're doing that, you can expect the world to pay you with the very same treatment. I put you together to love one another and to do what's right. So by your patience and endurance, you will win her over. By the way, ladies, a man does not have to be spiritual by your definitions to hear my ways and my will for your family. I plant it deep inside of him. Yes, it is wonderful when he seeks it out in Scripture, but that's not the determining factor of whether he is spirit-led. In many cases, he will have a deep-down feeling and a conviction about something, because I in him gave it to him, even without the trappings of Bible studies, Wednesday night services, or even Sunday services. I dwell in him, and what's missing in your marriages is that you are not honoring me in your husbands. See, a man will step aside when a woman outdoes him in a gift. So many men have done exactly that and have given up the helm to the one that seems to have all the answers. So I'm making a formal appeal to all who hear these words. Honor me in your husband, no matter what his spiritual condition. If you will do this, I will do my part and cause him to begin to stand tall. It will take time and it won't happen overnight, but you will see different layers of responsibilities rise up in him. Spiritual responsibilities. Build him up and show him my love, not yours. My love reaches way beyond shoes in the middle of the floor or towels that are crumpled up by the shower. Humble yourselves and take a long look. Make a mental list of all the ways you show preference to your own opinion, your own agenda, and your own ways. Watch yourself in the days to come. Carry your cross. You are partly responsible for his passiveness toward me. So deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me in what will prove to be a wonderful marriage. The marriage you should have had and always wanted. I can do this if you will cooperate. These instructions are for those of you who know you married the right man. If I didn't bring you together with this man, you can still grow in humility, and I will remove him in my time. Until then you'll become more holy, deeper with me, and I will be a husband unto you. You will not lack from authentic companionship. Remember, pride is the root of this evil, and it cannot enter into heaven. So, my blessed ones, do not fear humiliation and lowliness. It is only your pride that will suffer, and that for you is a bonus. That was the end of his message. Here now a few of my experiences. What I want to do now is share with you some of the ways I've dishonored my husband, and you can measure them against your own ways. There are plenty more examples, it's just that these are the ones that came to mind. For instance, he wants to go for a walk with you, and you are busy with your work, your spiritual things, or other things, so you can have time for your spiritual things later, and you turn him down. I've done this, and that's wrong. That's not honoring him. Another example is in making a decision to go to dinner. I've insisted on my own way in the past. What movie should we see? I've made my case strong instead of seeking what he wanted and yielding to him. More examples. Honoring the way things are arranged in his private space, his office, his shop, or bathroom space. Not moving things or leaving a mess or cleaning to the point where things are out of place. I've done that to him. Ignoring him when he wants you to take time out for him. If you're so wrapped up in your own doings and plans, you may feel like putting them aside is too hard, and you end up putting him off or sending him out alone. I've done that. I made him wear clothes he wasn't comfortable with. I've insisted he look a certain way when we went out rather than giving him a gentle nudge. Honey, I want to wear something special for you tonight. Or, I really love that green shirt you wore the other day. That's different than making him feel ugly or intimidated. I can just hear it now. Some of you are saying, "Oh, I'm way ahead of you, Claire. We do all those things." Well, bravo, ladies, I commend you. Now I'll tell you just how serious the Lord was with me. Just before he released me into public ministry on YouTube, my computer all of a sudden went down and black. Nothing. It wouldn't work, boot up, or anything. I finally gave up in tears, thinking, oh my gosh, this is the end of my ministry. There was no way I could afford to have this fixed. No way at all. All the teachings, songs, artwork, and filming I planned on using were gone. I had no tools to carry out the ministry he's been training me for and he's called me to do. This is what he said to me. Your ministry for me is absolutely useless without you honoring your husband as you honor me. Honor your husband as you honor me, or I can't use you, Claire. That is the stark truth, guys, and that's what he said to me. I was just crestfallen. My whole world just fell apart because, frankly, he's been training me for this mission for 33 years. I knew this was coming later on in my life. Here I'm in this place now, and he has given me so many rich things to share with others. And now he's telling me that none of that training and experiences have any meaning to him as long as I'm not honoring my husband. Really honoring him. Ouch. For days I was completely petrified with sorrow, self-pity, more than godly sorrow, until he began to show me how controlling I was. I became horrified at who I had become. He told me that many times he wanted to lead me through my husband, but he couldn't, because I didn't honor him. For instance, the dishes. My husband wanted me to retire some of the mugs, plates and silverware, so I wasn't always so backed up on dishes. For several years he has been asking me to do this, and for several years I withstood him. Then I realized what I was doing. After several years I retired 2/3 of our silverware and dishes, and lo and behold, the dishes are a 20-minute job instead of an hour and a half. It's made a huge difference, and the Lord was wanting to do this with me all this time. But because the kitchen was my domain, and I thought I knew what was best, he couldn't do a thing with me. The Lord tried to use my husband, but in my pride I wouldn't listen. Moving on to the computer. After 3 days of darkness, no pun intended, I thought maybe now, since I've really repented, maybe the Lord will have mercy on me. I walked over and lifted the lid of my computer, and all of a sudden, it started working perfectly again. That was several months ago now. I haven't had any problems with it since. It was obvious that it was an act of God. That's exactly how serious the Lord is about me honoring my husband. All my gifts are useless to him without honoring my husband. It could very well be that you ladies who listen here may not be in this place at all, but if you even suspect an inkling of this attitude in your lives, perhaps you would like to pray this prayer with me. Lord, I beg of you, change us and show us how we are stifling our husbands and overshadowing them and causing them to go back into the shadows. Give us the grace to conquer our pride with your humility. Expose our crooked ways and make them straight. Please, Lord, give us courage and raise up our husbands into the calling you have for them, and help us to truly be their helpmates as they awaken to your call. Help us to truly love, honor, and respect them as we love, honor, and respect you. Lord, I believe you will answer this prayer because I know it is your will for us. Amen.